What's up everyone? Today's video is going to be a highly requested video. It's going to be how to strengthen and gain hip mobility. So we're going to be doing a beginner version, which is going to be 4 exercises, and then also an intermediate for 4 exercises as well. First one we're doing for beginner is going to be hip cars. So we're going to be using a wall for stability. We're going to be bringing our leg up into a 90 degree. We're going to bring it out to the side, circle it back, full rotation, and then bring it back up. So as I'm rotating, I'm making sure my hips stay nice and square, and the only thing that is moving is my right side. I also want to be engaging my core as well through this, so I don't want to be arching through my back or piking through my hips and being lazy with it. From the front, I'll show you. You're going to basically drive the knee up, out to the side, in behind, and then back through. You can do these this way as well as go around and go the opposite direction. I would say rep range for these, I like to do these on my warm-up days for squats. I usually do 5 each direction on both sides. The next exercise we're gonna be doing is just standing leg pulses. So this one's good to do if you're someone who's a beginner. I recommend doing it with like just no weight, body weight, and as you can progress, you can add things like a higher level surface, that way you don't go down too much, or adding weight to your ankles. But for now, for beginners, using that wall for stability, we're gonna bring that leg up and just pulse and strengthen through that hip. Rep range here, you wanna go for around higher rep, like 12 to 15. We're gonna practice it both in the front, externally rotate, again, square hips, out to the side, and then bringing our leg back, and then out to the back and lifting. So this one too, we wanna make sure our legs stay nice and straight, our core is nice and tight, and that way each time when we're doing our pulses, they're nice and little, we're not going too far down, and we're not making them too big in general. You just want them nice and tiny and concentrated. So those are my 2 standing ones for beginners. Now we're gonna move down to the floor. The third exercise is going to be frog walk. Ooh, words are hard. Frog rocks. If you guys don't know, I can't really say my R's and W's that well, so that was so embarrassing. Okay, frog rocks. We're gonna go into a wide position with our knees, just slightly wider than our hips. Hands will go in front of us. This one is a little bit awkward to do at the gym, not gonna lie, and you're gonna understand why. So I would say if you do this one in the gym, nice in the corner, behind a wall, you know, little shy girl action. We're gonna have our arms in front of us. We're gonna rock back so that way our bum is like going towards our heels, stretch, and then come back in. So for this one in particular, you wanna make sure that you're not getting any pinching motion in your hips. If you are, you can always adjust to make the range of motion smaller. So from the front, the wider I am, the more advanced it's gonna be. The more narrow I am, the easier it's gonna be on my hips. And you're just gonna rock back and forth. Rep range for this will be again around the 12 to 15 range. You wanna be slowly getting more range of motion throughout your reps as you're warming up. But again, if you feel any pinching at all in your hip, just adjust the width of your legs or how deep you're going in those rocks. The next one we're gonna do, which is the 4th exercise, is going to be a front and lateral lunge rock. So you're gonna have your leg just set foot beneath knee. Turn this way so you guys can see. Foot beneath knee. We're gonna rock forward, extending through that hip nice and tight, and then back up. This one also doubles as ankle mobility as well, because you'll tell from that front leg, my knee's going past that toe. To keep this very hip related, you're gonna start off the rock with tucking your pelvis under and then pushing forward. This is gonna give you more emphasis on that hip area and allow you to get a full stretch as you rock back and forwards. The next one you're gonna do is you're gonna go out onto a 45 with that knee. So basically from here, I'm gonna step my leg out to the side, and we're now gonna go on like a diagonal and push through. And same thing, tuck that pelvis under, push the hip, and then bring it back. So rep range for this one can be like 8 to 10 each leg, making sure to work both sides. If you have a tighter side or a weaker side, you can increase or do more reps on that one side just to give it a little bit more attention. That's what I tend to do because my left leg's a little bit less flexible, and mobile than my right leg. So in terms of beginner ones, these are great ones to add just in your overall stretching routine or for your lower body workout before you're about to do it. For intermediate hip exercises, we're gonna take a long loop, sorry, not a long loop band, this is a short loop band. I like to use like a nice light resistance. We're gonna hook it around one foot and then the other foot. And then from here, we're basically going to lift this knee up, slow resist down. Knee up, slow resist down. So from the front, I'm staying nice and square in my hips, and I'm thinking of pushing this knee out as well. Not like outwards, like I'm actually like abducting, but just as I'm lifting my knee, I'm making sure that my knee doesn't cave in with that resistance band as it pulls up and slow on the way down. So for this one, I'll do around 10 each leg. And again, this is something that I do before my leg workouts. So it's gonna be your banded hip raises. If you don't have a long loop band, you can also use anything like a kettlebell, or you can just slightly resist with your actual hand if you're just tight on equipment. Next one you're gonna do is gonna be our 90-90 heel tap, which is one of my favorites. You guys have seen this in a lot of my reels as well as other YouTube videos. We're gonna head into that 90-90 position. If you can't do the full heel tap, all you're gonna do is just lift your heel. But for the full heel tap, we're basically gonna lift, keep the leg up, tap, keeping the knee up, and then tap. So this one, your torso can move a little bit in terms of making room for that leg to come around, but we don't wanna be bending all the way over, swaying all the way back. And you also don't wanna be using your hands during this one. So if you do feel like you have to start using your hands to get that leg around, just modify and instead just do the heel raises. The most important thing with this one is that as you're going around, you wanna make sure that leg stays relatively equal as it goes around. So if I were to circle through the back and all of a sudden my heel drops, that's when you kind of know there's a little bit of gap in that strength area, and you kind of almost want to revisit that area a little bit more to gain strength in that specific range of motion for your hip. Next one we're going to do is going to be our straddle and pike leg raises, one of my favorites. These ones are in a lot of my calisthenic programs and probably one of the most humbling exercises, because you're going to see it and you're going to be like, oh, that's so easy, but then you do it and it's more challenging. So to start off, the goal, hands in front of you. The farther your hands are out in front of you, the harder it is. The closer, the easier it is. We're gonna point our toes, keep our legs externally rotated, and just lift the entire leg off. Now, if that's hard, we can modify it a couple ways. We can have one hand behind, one hand in front, both hands behind, or we can also just do one leg at a time until we have the muscular endurance as well as mobility to be lifting those legs. Same thing for pike, exact same thing. Farther your hands are, the harder it is. Lifting nice and straight. We can go behind us, or we can go one leg at a time. This one translates well into a ton of calisthenic exercises as well. So in addition to doing it as a warm-up, I also have this as its own exercise when I'm working calisthenic skills like my V-snaps or my L-sit holds, anything like that. The last exercise we're gonna do is going to be a Cossack squat. So we're gonna be going down. I like to start from a straddle position, get my bearings nice and equal. We're gonna head down to the left side. This leg will externally rotate, keeping this hip here. We're not gonna rest on our bum because sometimes the mobility, sometimes I'll just sit here. You wanna keep it active. So keeping our bum off the ground, weight into this left leg. We're gonna slowly shift over into a deep squat and shift over into that right side. As I'm shifting, I'm making sure that this leg stays externally rotated and I'm pushing this knee outwards. And the same thing when I go into my squat, I'm actively pushing everything out and going down into my Cossack squat. So for these here, I wanna do around 6 to 8 each side. And then for the straddle and pike leg raises, those ones are vary in ranges. So for me, because I'm strong enough and I've been doing them for a very long time, I do upwards of 15 to 20. If they're new to your program, 5 to 8 is perfectly fine. So those are my key essentials for my hip strengthening and mobility. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful. If you have any questions at all, just drop them down below and hopefully you guys add these into your lower body routine.